Welcome to the Create Today podcast. I'm your host, Karen Stanley, certified Rapid Transformational Therapist and hypnotherapist. And my passion is helping women heal from the past and learn how to create the life they love one day at a time. And this show is all about how you can do just that in any area of your life that matters to you. Health, finances, business, or relationships. I believe that everyone's story matters because every story can help someone else. Thanks so much for being here. My guest today is Toni Vanschoyck. She is an author, an international speaker, a master distributor for Monat, a freedom lover, a mama, a GLAM-MA, and a wife. And she's been living green and clean for 20 years. Toni, thank you so much for doing this and being on my show and taking the time.
I'm so excited and I'm so honored to be here and just to be around like-minded women like yourself, Karen.
Thank you. This is going to be fun because her book is called You Do You. She calls it effing simple, which is hilarious. And she said, I won't cuss on your show. I promise. I said, oh yeah, you can say whatever you want. I don't care. Did you consider for a moment to call it fucking simple or no?
You know what? Actually, I did, but because, you have some major authors that use the word fuck in their title.
Yeah.
I wanted mine to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
That's where we came up with the concept. And it still offends people, which I'm okay with, but it is what it is.
It's so there's always someone to be offended. It's okay. Bless their hearts.
Yes.
When did you first start writing that book? Let's just start there.
Well, actually, that's my second book. I wrote my first book 6 years ago. And so that was the second book. And then I wrote another book based on leadership compilation stories. And then I have my first book coming back out again as a new edition because so many things have changed. So
awesome.
I just love providing value.
So when did you start working on You Do You?
That was back in, I started working on it in 2019 and I believe it came out in 2020, but don't quote me. I don't remember dates. I just remember monumental moments. But we did actually rent an RV and we went on tour with this book. It was really cool.
During the pandemic. So that'll give you a clue of the year.
Yes, exactly.
So it was it 2020 then?
Yeah, it was.
Everything was shut down?
Yep.
How did you do that? You pull up in an RV to a parking lot or what?
No, so it was right after everything opened, but we did the RV because it was easier because I didn't want to fly with all the restrictions and which I didn't want to abide by or won't abide by. So we just rented a big RV. We hit a lot of places along the East Coast and the Midwest because that's where a lot of our major circles of influence are because that's where we're from.
Oh, fantastic. That sounds like so much fun.
It was an experience. I'll just say that being locked in a mobile moving vehicle with my family was interesting.
How many people did you take with you?
So there were 4 of us. And on some stints, one of my other daughters came. So sometimes there was 5. And even though it was the size of a motor coach, it still was a very unique situation.
Yeah. How long were you on tour?
2 weeks. And I probably will never get in an RV ever again.
That's so funny. For the last couple of years ago, we were doing vision boards and we had been hiking in Sedona and we get to this beautiful, overlook and there's an Airstream. He's just parked on, it has the best view in the world because he just drove it up and parked it on top of a mountain. He's sitting there. He's got his truck, his dog, his guitar. He's probably like some famous country singer that I don't even know, sitting there singing a song all by himself. And I'm like, that looks amazing. We want to do that. And then we had that on our vision board for about, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. And we started kind of doing all the math with all the stuff you have to do with the RV. Do we really want to do that? Do we want to, why don't we just rent one for see if we like it or not?
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. We have a boat and that actually was more work that we had to do with all of the stuff that you have to maintain with going to, the KOA or the campgrounds for the vehicle. and just the basic maintenance, I'm like, honey, this is not for us.
Yeah, we don't know how to do maintenance stuff. We're not.
No, my husband's a farm boy, right? But he's at a precipice of his life. He's like, I don't have the bandwidth for it.
Same. Ditto.
Yeah.
That's awesome though. That sounds like fun. I would do it for a couple weeks. That'd be fun.
It's an
Um,
experience.
yeah, congrats. That's exciting. I want to talk about your largest challenges because we're going to help people create a better vision and mindset, all of the juicy stuff that you love to speak about and teach about. Toni was just here a week and a half ago doing a vision class. Vision, it's not vision board, you call it vision casting.
Yes.
So why do you call it vision casting? Let's start there.
Because I think that, you know what, a vision board is a great activity, but it's really about casting your vision, not just for the next year. It's really about doing it for year 1 all the way through year 10, because you can see exponential returns in year 10 on what you started in year 1. And so there's a formula that I've learned also from other people, and also my own experiences. I've been teaching these for 20 years. And we used to do it as a fun activity, all get together, once a year at the beginning or the end of one year or the beginning of the following year. And, you cut out these words, these pictures, you write down, some things that you want to happen, but really it's talking about the science behind it and what works, and the energy and emotional and psychological kind of like coalesce of all of those things, and really having people open up from their own heart, their own mind, into really creating, their life by design.
Well, it was a beautiful experience and we loved it having you over, and all of us loved doing it. And it was really special because one woman had brought her 3 teenagers, and it's a really powerful tool that I wish I had done with my teenager earlier. She wasn't feeling good, so she couldn't even come that night, but now she's 18. She's still a teenager, but you know what I mean? I just think it's beautiful to just start your brain work, looking ahead and putting it into words, writing it down, having the pictures to go along with it and speaking it into existence. Man, I would have loved to do that when I was those girls age 13, 14, 15. They were awesome. It was so much fun.
It's great to see it through, children's eyes, and it's a great thing to do together as a family, or, a gathering or a team event, because there's the emotional connection into what you want, and you're opening up all of those energetic levels and everything, and asking, the spirit or God or the universe to open up those doors. And this is where it starts, though. So it starts with the mental preparedness, which we did in the beginning, and then it leads to the creative experience. And you cannot help but what happens, because we encourage, or actually, like, I'm like, 24 hours, you've got to do something to propel yourself forward into achieving these things. And so the one thing is that I think, kids in their preteen, teenage years, that's a really challenging time for them. And they really, at that juncture of their life, they stop dreaming so much because they're worried about, conformity, and, what are their friends going to think? And, and this and that and that. And so that starts really limiting people in their dreams and their goals. So it's really great to get kids involved and let them know whatever they want, even as adults, right? Whatever you want. And I don't care, you're watching this right now, I don't care what age you are, it is never too late to start going after what you've always wanted.
It's true. My
Yep.
husband is in his late 60s, and he has, I think his first vision board was a few years ago. And it's really motivating. And we keep it, a reminder in front of us all the time. I was just thinking about teenagers because of what you said, how difficult it is for them. And This doesn't really have anything to do with what we're talking about, but I was just thinking about difficult because this just happened a couple nights ago. My daughter called me crying and she said, I added this kid from high school and on Snapchat. They hadn't talked in a few years and he just starts spamming her one after another. You're fat, you're ugly, nobody liked you. All of your friends were fake. They were all talking shit about you behind your back. And I'm like, oh my God, it doesn't even end when they leave high school. These people are these horrible people, kids, troubled kids, obviously. He's got some major issues going on, obviously. They never stop. It never stops following them around. Like when we were kids, even if we got bullied or we had a bad day or something embarrassing happened or whatever, we go home and it's gone. As soon as we get off that bus, they're all gone. But
Yep.
now it's 24/7. But maybe it does have something to do with this because that's even more reason to keep your mindset on what you're creating, right? Would you agree?
Yes. Yes. And I mean, your mindset, you have to have laser focused vision. And I'm going to tell you is that I've had my fair share of haters on social media.
Yeah.
And the one thing is that usually it comes from a place of lack mentality, lack, scarcity, jealousy, whatever the case is. But at the same time too, we've created, and especially for your daughter's age at the precious age of 18, is that we've created people that actually they can do it on a keyboard, but they would never do it face to face.
I
Right.
know.
So you have to take that into consideration is that, social media is a tool. It's a tool. It can do great things. It can do very damaging things. But we have to remember is that most people on social media, they're not actually being authentic. They're
I know.
not being their true self. And that's also an outlet for people like that, that if she got upset, she let that person just for a second steal her power. And
Mhm.
we cannot allow, what crappy stuff is going on outside, of our homes or what we believe in or what have you to affect us to the point of, of our true inner self being just, lack of a better word, disturbed. Okay.
Yeah, it is disturbed.
It is disturbing. But the one thing that we can do is that we can choose how we show up. All she has to do is block, delete, we're done. I mean, that's the beauty of social media, right?
It is.
It is. But also, too, we cannot internalize it because that's not truly who we are. This is just someone else who is either jealous or, and I want to speak to that even a little bit further. So back in 2017, when our main company started taking market share away from the big conglomerates, and we had massive haters coming at us, very same similar situation that your daughter dealt with. We had fake ass lawsuits that were filed. Nothing was ever won. They ended up walking away because they couldn't prove all of the lies and crap that they were telling us. But we were getting slammed on Instagram and Facebook. Oh, your product makes your hair fall out. You're a horrible person. You're an MLM. You make money off people's backs, and I'm like, that's exactly what we don't do. And we've had millions of testimonials. We've been able to help millions of people be able to put food on the table, right? And do so many great things. So therefore, I know exactly how she felt because I felt the same way. But it wasn't just one person, it was hundreds.
That's
So
insane.
yeah, but the thing about it is that you believe in you believe in what you're doing or whatever the case is, and no keyboard cowboy or cowgirl on social media is going to make any difference in your life at all.
Yeah.
It's actually easier. It's actually easier physical or than face to face. You can just block and delete. Sometimes you can't do that in real life, especially if they're family.
Yeah. Well, she's 6 feet tall and she would have beat the shit out of him. But if it was in, she's the strongest person I've ever met besides her brother. It's really, I'm so glad you said that. Why don't you walk us through when we get something? I didn't even expect we were going to talk about this, but let's just walk through the mindset piece of, I really truly believe that it's way harder to do what you're saying than it is really hard, easy to say and hard to do So if I got lots of hate for my podcast last week, and I was just so interesting because most people, you can't even respond because they don't let anybody respond to them on Instagram. They're just so full of bitterness and hatred. And when you see that and you start to internalize, what are some of the strategies if somebody really has a hard time doing that? Or maybe that's keeping them from even posting and sharing their light on social media because they are so afraid of getting that feedback that makes them feel like crap. What would you suggest? Maybe you could walk someone through that. What is the mindset? What are the things that you do to reframe that and move forward?
Well, one, other people's opinions don't affect your life or pay your bills. That's
Sure.
the first thing. The second thing is that they're usually suffering from an inferiority complex. Okay. The third thing is that a lot of those comments and stuff, and even though I know that your daughter knew this person on Snapchat, is that 70% of the comments are on Facebook and Instagram are driven by bots. So think about that. I don't even think that a lot of it not so much now as it was back in 2017 when we had this happen, but the genuine people, usually they don't have a lot of followers. It's usually driven, or someone else that's created a separate account because they're trolling the internet or whatever they're doing. But at the end of the day, you as a person are not affected by anybody else. And when you let somebody's negativity affect you, and you go into kind of like analysis paralysis mode, you've actually given them your power. You've actually given them your light. So what you need to do is you need to pivot right away. Mel Robbins says 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go, right? So your head doesn't get into that, and you go and do the exact opposite of what you're feeling. So you go out there and you talk positivity, you talk love, you talk about all the great things, how you've contributed, what you love about your life, what you love about, what your future is going to look like, what you love right now that's going on. Everything that you do when you're feeling in that situation, you've got to walk in the light. That's my number one thing. The other thing too is that a lot of people, especially now and all social media is distraction and comparison. That's 90% of it, right?
Seriously.
It's drama and distraction, and that keeps you from your dreams. I didn't even, that wasn't even my quote. I was listening to Brendan Bouchard the other day. I'm a part of his what is it, Growth Day. I love that, daily affirmations and all that. You've got to keep putting positive stuff in your mind and shut out all the noise. That's all you can do. And surround yourself with positive people. You surround yourself with people that are going to lift you up, and also people of where you want to be or where you want to go. That's really important.
Absolutely. I was telling somebody, I think it was my husband, I don't know how many times I heard, you become the 5 people that you surround yourself with. You become the 5 people you surround yourself. I don't know. I probably had to hear it like 1,000 times before I actually got it and started to shift some of the people that I spend the most amount of time with. Like, yeah, I know. And then I go, spend the most amount of time with the same people and who didn't understand my dreams. And there's nothing wrong with anybody. It's just somebody doesn't understand your dreams, and they might be a hindrance to you accomplishing them or accomplishing them as fast as that you want, So things like that, sometimes you just have to hear it many, many, many times until you go, okay, I got it now. Maybe there's somebody that I need to spend less time with. And then, just like what you're saying. I also want to walk our listeners through a couple of your greatest challenges, and then how did you get through, move forward, and how did the things that you teach and you speak about right now, vision casting and mindset, how did that come into play? Let's talk about, you had a really awful divorce. When was that?
2007.
It's been a while. So 17, 15, 16, 17 years.
Yeah. I think we started going through the divorce 2 years prior, though. It just took forever to get finalized.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because we had kids, we had properties, we had businesses together, and he was a snake. He really was. He was a snake. He was hiding money and doing all sorts of stuff. He had a whole other family I didn't even know about.
Whoa,
Yeah.
seriously?
Yep.
When did you find out? Before you started the divorce process or after?
No, it was during, actually, because, for me, I am very, I felt like I was a failure, right? I felt like there was something wrong with me. I did not know how much I had actually been manipulated and how I was rationalizing everything. And I'm a very strong female type A personality. I'm very driven. I have a very, very good work ethic. But it really threw me for a loop when I found this out. And I had started the divorce proceedings, and then I had taken my foot off the pedal. Then my daughter and my son went to the park with him and to meet his new girlfriend, and she was 6 months along with their baby
Holy
as
shit.
as their new mom. So I went off. I probably had a break with reality a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I locked him out of the house and I threw all of his stuff out on the front lawn. It was really quite
Yeah,
a
devastating.
catharsis.
Yes.
But I had lost the businesses and everything through there. I was devastated. I thought, we had all of these great things that were happening. And, I saw where I put the blinders on, and I allowed his behavior to, I allowed that to be okay. And that wasn't okay. And so, the one thing is that my mindset was so bad. And I remember during this time, I had watched the movie The Secret for the very first time, and I felt like there was it was like a light switch went on. And I watched it. That's when I created my first vision board. And, I had that on my wall. And then it was really funny. I found it after I moved, and everything came true on it. Everything.
And what amount of time do you remember?
Yes, it was
Couple years?
exactly a year and a half.
Wow.
So
That's
for that,
incredible.
yeah, for that to take place, and everything that's happened, that was a huge thing. Your mindset, also vision and mindset are conjunction, because in order for you to have great vision, you have to have your mindset in the right place, because 99% of what's going on up here is what holds us back. And I'm sorry, I think I squirreled for a second. Did I answer your question, Karen?
Well, so you went through a devastating divorce. Actually, you were just about to start. So when we have these setbacks that literally set us right on our ass, that's not our finest mindset days. Those are devastating things that happen personally, financially, all of it, your relationship, you being betrayed. Those aren't small things. And everybody has been through very huge things that are similar, might not be exact. And so you can't just snap your fingers and go, mindset, here we go. It's fine. Surround myself with positivity. It doesn't work like that. So how did you step by step get your focus back and get your work on your vision and where you were going? Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, yes, I can actually. So, whenever you go through a major life trauma, there's always going to be a grieving process. Allow yourself to grieve, but don't live in it. Okay. You've got to do something every single day that's going to propel yourself forward in one way, shape, or form. That's the first thing. So you have to do something through your grieving process. And again, grieving processes are different for everybody, whether it's a divorce, whether it's the loss of a loved one, whether it's a loss of a job or a business or what have you. Remember, those are not failures. Those are lessons. And those are lessons that are going to teach you what you can do to do better or not do again. Okay. So my grieving process lasted for probably about a year to a year and a half, even through my current husband, who I've known for 40 years. We met in middle school, actually, and reconnected. Yeah. And we reconnected during my divorce. And I was just like, I'm never getting married again. I'm not having any more children. I am done. Men suck. Because this wasn't just my first divorce, it was my second. So I had this wall built up, And, you know, because we were good friends before we had that foundation, my husband had never been married. He had never had children. There was a lot, like, you know, through the process of this. And yes, did he help? 100%. I think that you need to have somebody in your corner that's going to call you on your shit when you're just knee deep in it and you're not willing to get out. You need somebody to hold yourself accountable. And
Yes.
if it isn't somebody in your circle, then hire a coach or a therapist or someone, right? To get you
Yes.
out of the muck.
Yes.
The other thing is you can do this on your own and it's free. It's personal development, listening to Audible books, listening to stuff on YouTube, listening to podcasts. There are thousands out there that can help you with any particular situation that you're in if you do not have structural support as far as relationships. If you've got to do it on your own, because I felt like I was doing it on my own for the last 2 years that I had to be married until my divorce was finalized, then do it on your own. And that's really what I did, because my family was sick of me complaining about it. My friends were sick of me complaining about it. I had to pull up my big girl panties, put the boots on, and, you know, fix my mind. And so therefore I'm very tenacious. And so it did take some time, but you know, when Jay and I reconnected, it took me about a year and to figure out that the other shoe wasn't going to drop, but he was a pivotal part of that as well. So
Oh, that's so cute. You meet in middle school and then you reunite. What was that? 20 years later, 15 years? How that? Oh, that's
yeah,
so
yeah.
cute. I love that.
Yeah, so Catherine will be 17. So we will have been together for 18 years.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that.
Thanks.
um, um, I I love what you're saying. Do you remember a first book, or you saw the movie The Secret, or did you read the book?
No, I saw the movie.
And then do you remember what the next dominoes were after that? Somebody is going through something that's that major. What would you recommend be the first thing that they read?
Oh man, the first thing that they read. um the first thing that they read.
There's
I
so many
I
good
was going
ones, I
through
know.
a Louise Hayes and Wayne Dyer phase.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Love both of
Um,
them.
yep. Really, really like them. I probably watched The Secret. I think I watched it every day for like a month just to keep, you know, because it made me feel so good inside. And you know, it was simple, and I would, you know, really listen to it and really incorporate, you know, what Lisa Nichols said and Vitali and, you know, Bob Proctor and all of these amazing people, and, you know, just placing worth on myself. I had no self-worth, Karen.
Right.
No self-worth. People that operate on a higher self-worth, they can bounce back faster, but I had none. I was broken. I don't have a relationship with my parents or, you know, a lot of my family. I didn't really, I had, you know, pushed all my friends away because I was so negative and so toxic. I mean, you'd be around me and you could read those negative ions and they were like, go away, go away.
You're
um,
so hurt, so
yeah.
angry. Well, you're in
Yep.
the anger stage of grief. I mean, that's actually one of the stages.
Yeah.
And I think when it's personal like that and affects so many areas of your life and you've been betrayed, we might stay in anger a little bit longer than most, and it doesn't matter. It's okay. I went through the same thing at the same time. And I stayed in the anger phase way longer than I wish I had. And I was completely destroyed. My self-esteem was completely destroyed. So it's really interesting because it was almost exactly the same time period as you. So we're going through the same thing, even though we didn't know each other. So I completely understand. And then I also want listeners to know that if you're in that anger stage and you just can't seem to get out of it, it's give yourself some grace and just try to do one thing, just one thing. What's one thing I could do to feel a little bit better? Maybe it's just get outside and go for a walk or turn on The Secret. And I know I can totally see why you would watch that over and over and over again, because it just at least gets you, okay, something's possible. It is possible to create what I want. And sometimes that's the most important part, is just the belief that it's possible. How did you cultivate that, the self-esteem and the belief that what you wanted was possible? How did you cultivate that after being in the anger stage for so long?
I knew that I was worthy of more. I knew that I was worthy of great things. I've been, around, some amazing people, being in the industry that I'm in. And I think that's really what kind of started that trajectory of moving out of the anger stage. And I will tell you is that, the devastation and the grief and everything like that and the betrayal, absolutely. But at the same time, it's up to us to pivot what's going on in our mind. So, that's why when I would start to cry uncontrollably, or I was upset or was angry with myself, because I put self blame on me.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't me. I tried to overcompensate. That there is a great thing that you can pivot when your mind starts going down that downward spiral, or that anxiety or that grief or that anger. And there are certain things physically and mentally that you can do. You can just keep it very simple. And I'm a pen to paper type of person. Don't put it in your phone, don't type it. But whenever you have a negative thought come in, write down the exact opposite of that, the positive thought. It's a great way to pivot your mind. Turn on music that you love and start dancing. It's another great way to pivot. I did that a lot as well. Another awesome way, now that I know this, is that there is, such a thing as shocking your body, right? Just taking a big bowl of ice water and dunking your face in it. I mean, literally, there is physiological proof that will completely, pivot what's going on up here. Putting on positive affirmations, scripture, just so many different things that you can do, but you have to advocate for it and you have to do it for you. So the number one thing that I want to tell people listening out here right now, there is nothing more important than what is going on up here, but your self-love. That's the most important thing. And when we don't love ourselves, this is where, when we're betrayed and we have this grief and we've, been violated or something like that, that's what we allow to live in our heart and in our soul. So by you doing the self-care, the self-love, whatever that, it's a massage, going to the chiropractor, taking a yoga class, going for a walk, seeing a therapist, it does not matter. Whatever makes you feel better, that's what you have to do to release that, I call it the love hormone, the oxytocin, right?
100%.
Yeah. Hugs. I just posted about this the other day, right? Hugs, holding a baby, petting a dog. Listen, like, seriously, if you don't like dogs, we have a problem, but dogs are one of the best things that you can do to escalate where you are emotionally, if your emotions are in the crapper. But
They are.
yeah. So there's a lot of different, things that you can do. Go to a dog park. Like, if you're feeling down and out, you don't have a dog, and if you don't have time to take care of a dog, just go to a dog park. Sit there, pet the ones that come up to you. And I mean, that is a huge difference in, how you feel emotionally. And that's something simple that everybody can do.
100%. Now, were you already with Monate at this time during this divorce period, or did you join later?
No. So I launched the company back in 2014. So this was way after that.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
how did you get to that point? How did you hear about them? How did that all start?
So I've been an industry professional for over 25 years. And the last company that I was with, they actually closed, and I was doing some consulting, and I found out I'm just unemployable. And so I love this industry. I love what it does because I'm a person of service, and you can serve people with a great product and a great business opportunity. So back in 2014.
Before you go forward, just tell them what this industry is. A lot of people might not be.
Yes. So, yes, I've been in network marketing for over 20 years. So it basically, we're like the best version of an affiliate program. So, that's what our industry has been doing. Avon, Amway, Mary Kay. It looks a lot different now because of technology and social media and automation. But we launched that 10 years ago, and we've been able just to serve so many people. And that's one of the beautiful things about network marketing, is that you can serve many on a very large scale. And that's truly what I love, because I do love the teaching coaching aspect of it. And also I attribute that to helping me get through some of the life challenges that I've had, because it's really a professional development company in disguise.
Oh, brilliant. And how did you find out about them to begin with? Like, did someone
So,
recruit you? Did someone call you? What happened?
so one of the gentlemen that was starting the company I had worked with in the past, and he had a phenomenal track record. Not only that, we were the first company to play in our space in personal care products. There was no other company out there doing it. And I prayed, and you know what? I got a swift kick in the ass from God, and he's like, you have to do this. You have to do this. This is your path. This is where you need to go. And so I have been following that ever since. And we're at our 10-year anniversary. So
That's so cool.
yeah.
You mentioned the scriptures and then you mentioned prayer before. Has your faith and has prayer always been a big part of your life?
No, it has not. So we didn't talk about this before we came on. So I actually was an atheist for many, many years.
Really?
Did not believe in God, did not believe in the power of the universe, nothing, anything like that. Right up until I was in my late 20s, and my divorce had a little bit of something to do with that. And then I knew that there was a power that was moving through me, but I wasn't actually ready to call it God. It was more like just an unseen energy that I had felt. And, just this energy, I was calling it energy. So I was saying, okay, there's this energy. And then I learned about quantum physics and all this other kind of stuff out there. And then there was one day, and I remember exactly where I was. I was in San Francisco. I was at a leadership event, and I was bawling. I don't know why. And I went up to one of my really good friends, and, she was always praying for me. And I'm like, Shannon, oh, look, see, I got God bumps right now as we're talking about this. And I remember, and I looked at her, and I'm bawling, and I'm like, Shannon, I understand now. I understand. I know what it is. I know what the Spirit is. I know His Holy Spirit. I know God. I know Jesus. And it was just like this light bulb moment. And so therefore I've always walked through, both, everything. My husband was raised a Catholic. And even when we first met, I was in the agnostic stage, and he's like, Toni, you don't understand. You don't understand. And so when all of this happened, it was just like, literally, it was one of those moments. And, so even more so, I know, not just because of what's happened in our personal and professional life. I had a near-death experience right after I turned 50. And I know that, my guardian angel and that God and Jesus, they were there in that
What
moment.
happened? What
Oh, I
happened?
almost died.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I actually didn't know that I was born with a congenital heart defect.
No way.
Never
Never had your scans or any signs, any symptoms, nothing?
Nope, nothing. I had felt lethargic. I had been on like a 6-day speaking tour. I was in Calgary. I was in California. Then I was in Wisconsin. And I felt something pop. And then I couldn't breathe. And I got off the plane to Calgary, and I couldn't catch my breath. And I had a lady who actually said, hey, is there something I can do for you? And I just thought it was, fatigue from traveling so much.
Yeah.
So then I went and did my gig in Calgary, flew back to Madison, and I honestly told my daughter was there. And I said, I said, I think, and I've never been in the hospital before, never. And I told her, I said, I think you probably need to take me to the hospital, because I couldn't breathe. I couldn't eat. I felt lightheaded. And I went and found out I had a hole in my heart.
It's so crazy.
I know.
What did they do for it?
Minor procedure. They just put a little mesh thing over it. I was awake for it. It took like 5 minutes, and I've been fine ever since.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yep. But I can't even tell, just the reinforcement of that, because I should have died. I had 3 cardiologists, top cardiologists from the University of Wisconsin here in South Carolina. And they said, you should have stroked out. you should not be alive. And I'm like, praise, my work is not done here yet.
Right. Thank you, God, and my angels.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think was the reason for being an atheist in the first place? Did something happen? Were you raised by atheists?
No, we never went to church,
Hmm.
never talked about religion,
Hmm.
never talked about God, never talked about any of that. I know that one of my parents was raised in a very abusive household.
Mm.
So, and again, it was a very emotional devoid and sometimes physical abuse,
Mhm.
in my household when I was a child. And just through all of the challenges that I was through, I got kicked out when I was 17. I had been living on my own ever since. That's also when I gave my firstborn up for adoption. So
Mm.
currently reunited, 2 years strong. We've been reunited.
I'd
Uh,
really like for you to share that story. And I was just curious, before we share that story, I'm so glad you brought that up because I wanted you to share it. It's beautiful. So do you think that your parents, the parent who grew up in the abusive household himself or herself, were they super religious? Did the religion or nobody was? So it's just really not, you come from generations of just no religion at all.
yep.
That blows my mind.
Yep.
Hmm. And then, so you never thought of it? Were you anti-religion, anti-God? Did you blame God? I'm just wondering, because I can't relate to that. And I want to know what that's like to never have religion and never talk about God your entire childhood.
Yeah, I think that there was some blame there. How could I have been dealt this kind of shitty
Yeah.
situation? All of this. And then when I was a kid, we had extremely religious people live next door to us. And it was like it was above and beyond, like it was almost cultish. And so I was like looking at that family saying, no way, so, when you're a
Yeah.
child and you're preteen and just turning a teenager, those impressions can really play havoc on you, right? Because
Yes.
you don't understand. So I think that that also had something to, attribute to, why I was just like, there's no way.
Hmm. So you are just a sweet baby who's 17, you get pregnant. You've already been kicked out of your home.
No, this was prior. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So I delivered Jesse and then I got kicked out like 3 or 4 months later.
Did you ever consider abortion?
Uh, it's the reason why I didn't tell my parents until I was 8 months pregnant, because I knew that that would be their response. And that's what it was. I didn't even tell them, and they didn't even know how far along I was.
Wow. Were you just
Yep.
not showing that much? How did you hide that from them?
You know what? You know what? We always worked out. I was always working. I was never tried to be never home, never home.
Right.
I only had 2 or 3 friends that knew about it before, I actually had to deliver her, because I actually was, so it was, May of, 87 when I graduated, and she was born that following September. So I was in pretty much almost my third trimester as a senior.
Walking across the stage, graduating from high school, and
No,
only three people knew?
my husband was one of them.
No way. Oh, you told him
Yeah, 'cause we were really good friends in
all the
middle
way
and
through high
high school.
school.
So
Oh, it's so beautiful. And so you knew immediately then that you did not want to even discuss abortion, and you knew
nope.
you were going to do adoption.
Yep.
And what was that process like? What happened when you're a teenager, you're all alone? Did somebody come with you? Like, what did you do?
No, I did it all by myself.
Gosh.
All by myself. So at that time, open adoptions, you got to watch videos of the family. They get interviewed, and so I watched 3 tapes, and on the third tape, VHS back in the day, on the third tape, I knew that that family was right for her. So they had been trying to have kids for years and years and years. They were a little bit older. They were in their early 30s, and I said, that's the family for her. So I got to pick them out. I got to meet them prior to delivery. I delivered Jessie, and she was taken away pretty quick, which is a good thing because of the emotional bond. But I got to visit Jessie with them 2 weeks later at the adoption office. So that was really cool.
Wow. And you again went to that by yourself?
Yep.
I cannot believe this. I cannot believe this. So a couple of years ago, you get a ding on Facebook, right?
Yes.
Tell us what happened.
I get this beautiful Facebook message, and my dad apparently had done a DNA testing site, and she had done the same one, and that's how she found the last name. So she went to Facebook to look up, my dad's name because it was on there, and she found a senior picture of me in high school, and she had the same picture that I gave her, that when she was born, she got it when she was 18 in a letter that I wrote her. And so that's how she found me. And then she held on to it for about 2 weeks and then wrote me the message, and it was beautiful. I don't want to bother you, but I just want to let you know, told me how all of this transpired, how she was doing really, really well. She's a natural labor delivery nurse. She, had a Scott that was 2. So I got instant GLAM-MA. And just said, I hope that I'm not bothering you, but
I know, I already need a tissue. Oh my gosh. And I've already heard this story, but it's so beautiful.
and she said, just thank you. Because if I would have terminated pregnancy, none of this would have happened. So since then, I go up to see her quite a bit in Michigan. She is actually a natural labor and delivery nurse for a long time. She finished her midwifery in 2023, and she just opened one of the very first holistic midwifery centers. So it's a complete birthing center for women that want to do birth on their terms. So, which is really cool because the apple doesn't fall far from the tree from our green and clean living. And she's a yoga instructor, and I've been practicing for 20 years. It was just like, okay, let's discuss this nature versus nurture thing. But it was really
tell my listeners what your response was. Your first response to her.
My first question to her, you're gonna make me cry again. And I didn't know I was next for this. My first question to her was, all I want to know, did I pick good parents? And she said, you picked the best. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to re-meet her mom. Her mom had passed away, the year prior she had surgical complications, and her mom passed. And so that's when she intensified the search. And again, for whatever reason, that was a catalyst in us finding each other like barely a year later. And since then, I have a 8-month-old grandbaby too, baby Callie. And it's just really completed my life.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Is that why you kept your maiden name your whole life?
No, I kept my maiden name because my last name doesn't belong to anybody else but me.
I think subconsciously, I mean, don't you think a little bit has to be subconscious? Like, I'm going to leave it so that she maybe, if she wants to meet me or find me, that she can find me.
Yeah, maybe it was. Maybe it was.
Wow. That's an incredible story. And now you see each other all the time and you can be a part of her life. I mean, wow. And now you're a GLAM-MA. Isn't that beautiful?
It is. But now I've got this whole extra family. So Karen, get this, and this is the best part. So right after they adopted Jessie, guess what happened? She's got a sister that's like 3 months, a biological sister from the parents. They had a baby, they got pregnant and had a baby.
Oh my gosh. That happens all the time.
Yep. Because you let go. You let go of something that you're holding on so tight to. Yep. And when you let go of it, it grows its own wings.
Totally. that belief that you're holding on to, that it's not possible. It's like lack. I can't do it. It's never going to happen. Then I'm getting older. I mean, it's very challenging, especially as soon as you start, mid 30s. Well, everybody says you have to have babies before that. I mean, all of these beliefs that are not yours, you start to internalize. I've known several people that have that's happened to. And it's a miracle when that happens, when they actually get to conceive and they adopt and conceive. It's just beautiful. So
Yes.
they're how much apart? How much time apart are they?
Like 3 months.
That's nuts.
I know. And
They're like
so
twins.
yeah, so Sam just had another baby. So Sam has 3 babies. So it's just like this whole amazing, new world. And again, takes time to get to know somebody after they've been out of your life for, 34, 35 years. But I mean, just the possibilities.
I love it.
So many, so many.
There's so many. And I think that's really what mindset is all about, is just remembering that it's whatever it is that you're challenged with, or whatever you're struggling to believe is possible, is to just, it's always impossible until somebody does it.
Yep.
I love that example about the 4-minute mile. Nobody had broke 4 minutes. Nobody broke ever. It had never been done until one day somebody did it and ran a mile faster than 4 minutes. And then how long after that did somebody else break it? Broke his record 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
After hundreds of years of running, nobody had ever, they had recorded running speeds. And so it's always impossible until somebody does it. I just love that.
Yep.
Toni, this has been so much fun. I know there's so many things that we could go and talk and on and on and on and on. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much for doing this. Please tell us how everybody can find you. And I'll put all of your links, obviously, in the show notes, but please tell them.
So can I just want to say one thing, Karen. This is probably my most favorite podcast I've ever done. And I do a lot of them. Just the warmth and everything that you bring to your platform. It's incredible. I've listened to a couple of your other ones.
Thank you.
When I found out that you actually had one a couple weeks ago, and you really are a gift in just really diving in and finding out what makes people tick. But so thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much. That means so much.
But yes, so the best way for people to find me, go to Instagram. You can find me at Toni Vans Official. So it's TONI V as in Victor ANS official. On Facebook, I am Toni Vanschoyck. I'll let you spell it in the speller, because it's long. So
it's long. It doesn't look like Vanschoyck, that's for sure.
No, it does not. But those are the two best places you can find me, and you can go to our website, effingsimple.com.
Love it. Thank you so much, Toni. I really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. All right, you guys, take care. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for being here and listening to my show. If you got any value at all, it would mean the world if you shared it and left a review. Remember, the only way to create the life you love is to take it one day at a time. Create today. God bless you.